Well, just take me through the whirlwind a little bit of right before fall camp starts for you. Not that you make it about yourself; it's about the guys and the program. But knowing just to get that promotion to DC right before, what were just your emotions like going in the camp?
Well, it was exciting. Obviously, day before the camp, it becomes a little hectic, a little fast paced. But the guys responded well, the coaches responded well. We just kept things moving the way that we were working, and they came out working hard. Proud of them.
Coach Hill said he respects you so highly because you've had opportunities to leave and even leave for a better job, better pay, but you've stayed. That means you really love the connection within the program. What is it about the program that you feel so connected to, Coach James, that you respect so much?
The people, from top to bottom, from our administration, our coaching staff, our players. I built a great relationship with these guys. It wouldn't feel right taking lateral positions or just leaving them, for any old job. The Saluki program, SIU, I'm very familiar with. When I was in college, this was one of the premier FCS programs, still is to this day. And it's a great place for everybody to be and work, and I enjoy coming to work every day.
You've been a D coordinator before, so knowing you've had that experience, how much does it just ease the transition for you, even though it's a little last minute, but it's nothing that's going to be totally unfamiliar territory for you?
Calling plays and coordinating will be very familiar, but it's a new group of guys. It's a different conference. It's big time ball over here. We play great opponents week in and week out, from our first week to our last week. Everybody on the schedule is good enough to beat us, and we just have to be on point this whole season and work our tails off.
How much of a change is it when you do get the D coordinator hat of not just knowing guys within your position group, but knowing everybody on that side of the ball? How important has the early days of camp to get to know everybody, not just your position group up front with the defensive line, but knowing personnel and guys in each position group and having that connection with them?
It's very important. I've done a job over the year just of getting to know everybody anyway. I always try to grab guys from different position groups whenever I see them just messing up on little things, or if it looks like something's on their mind, and just talk to them. So I think that's why I made the transition a little easier for the players, because they were a little more familiar with me on a personal level rather than just knowing me as Coach James down there with the defensive line. I've come and talked to the corners one-on-one and safeties and linebackers. I've had opportunities to talk to them long before this, just as people, and got to know them as young men. So I think that helped a lot with the transition.
Branson and PJ are getting a lot of preseason accolades. I know those are deserved. But outside of those guys, and really if you just want to touch up on those guys too, what can be the strength of your unit this year? Those two I know will lead the way, but depth is always going to be key if you're going to be a good defense.
Yeah, I think depth will be huge for us. We got to continue to develop our young guys that are our backups, and they'll come in late in the season and early in the season contribute. And just all around, I think those guys get a lot of spotlight, but those are hard-working, hard competitors. And we have a lot of guys on our defense who are in the same boat. We got some older guys who've been playing ball for quite a few years, whether they transferred to us from another program where they were starters and had accolades and such, or they just been a part of the SIU program for their tenure here. And those guys are all working hard, and I think that's really what makes our defense go, and I think it makes our team go, because those guys are all just working their tails off. They're not worried about PJ's accolades. PJ's not even worried about PJ's accolades. He's just trying to be the best version of him he can be.
Not that you want to say it's luck, because you coach it all the time in terms of taking care of the football on the offensive side, or defensively being very opportunistic and getting takeaways. That was something a year ago that didn't happen as much as what Coach Hill would like. I know you guys would like. What are ways, whether it's schematically or just in terms of mentality right now, Coach James, that you try to preach to the defense to make that a high priority?
We're always preaching getting the ball back. We're tracking strip attempts. We're tracking every time somebody from defense gets their hands on the ball, whether it's an interception, strip attempt, fumble recovery, forced fumble. We're tracking that, and we're showing it to them. We're finding clips and constantly preaching it, because we were one of the worst countries and one of the worst teams in the country last year. We had a solid defense, but I think giving our offense the ball back a lot more is going to help, because we have a very explosive offense full of playmakers, and we have to do our part as a defense and make sure we contribute to help those guys shine.
As you continue through fall camp, especially early as you get closer to getting the pads on, what are really some of the key things that you focus on each day that you want to see out of your defense?
I like seeing technique work. Guys really focusing on their technique. You're going to get beat a few times, especially when you're trying something new. You're trying new techniques that coaches are pushing onto you instead of relying on your athleticism all the time to make plays. And the next thing is just attention to detail. Like, are we locked in on our keys? I always say, see a little, you see a lot. Be locked in on your keys, and they're going to take you to the next progression. And just talking to our guys and making sure they're understanding what their keys are. When they make a mistake, it's not about jumping on them and always putting them down. Sometimes it's starting to teach them how to see the game the way that you see it and maneuver their eyes the way that you as a coach would like it to be.